what did you want to add?
Oh, I just wanted to say, like, as someone who does practice abstinence as a virgin, I do agree, because it's helped me weed a lot of bad people out. Because, like,
Yes.
a lot of people have the wrong intentions when you first meet them, and they immediately want sex out of you. And when you do that, when you hook up with them, like the first few times you get with them, it's like they already see that you're...
I mean, there's pros and cons to everything, though, right? Because I would argue, I probably have huge disagreements here, but I would argue that, like, men that are hunting virgins, sometimes they're looking for people that they can exploit as well, right?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah,
I
do think it is good, and I would argue, to some men's chagrin, I think that if you're a woman and you're looking for a serious relationship, how you treat sex has to be done in a very careful way. Yeah. Because if you're fucking a guy on the first date, it's really hard to figure out like who's serious and who's just like trying to play or whatever, right? Like I'll hear some guys say like, oh, this chick didn't want to till the 5th or 6th date, I'm fucking out of there. And it's like, okay, well, you were never in her like dating pool anyway, because that's not what she's looking for. So I think that having some reasonable access to sex is like, okay, if you're looking for something more serious, for sure.
You should probably build on that too, on like how guys looking for conservative, decent women, these women are not going to give it up on the first, second, or third date.
Yeah, but I don't think guys here are ever looking for conservative women. They're looking for hoes with low body counts.
So you say guys.
So
here,
I agree with you
in the red pill
In the red
manosphere
pill
space.
general.
You are not. Here's the thing I'll give you, and I've come from religious communities, and this is true. And I don't know who will disagree with here. There are some people that are on massive cope from like the Tate industry that disagree with this. If you're a guy and you've ran through 20, 30, 40 women, the types of conservative women that you talk about are never going to want to be with you. And I know that we have some disagreements on, do women care about body count, blah, blah, blah. If you're looking for a conservative woman, she's not going to be with a guy that wanted to be a boy throughout all of his 20s. It's not going to happen.
But I think it would be, so I'll push back slightly on that and saying that I think it would be a larger disqualifier for a man looking at a woman who has a large body count than a woman looking at a man who has a large body count.
Certainly.
I don't know. I think it really
One thing, Destiny, we have your girlfriend in the chat.
Thank you.
Is she wearing glasses with no lenses on? That's the most important question right now. The pseudo-intellectual.
I want to add something on, Nev, to what you were saying. If this is my advice to all marriage-minded women out there, okay? To your point, if you're a woman and you want to get married and you want to find a guy who wants to marry you, who you will have a good marriage with, one of the best things that a young woman in your shoes can do is tell the guy, yeah, I'm going to wait until marriage to have sex. A guy who's truly interested in you for who you are and who loves you as a person and wants to spend the rest of their life with you, they're going to be cool with waiting until marriage to have sex. Now, there's going to be some guys out there. That are like, hey, I want to test drive the vehicle before I purchase it, right?
That's a really negative way to say it.
Well, it's intentionally so.
Yeah, I know, but like, sex is a really important part of a relationship. It would fucking suck to marry somebody and then realize you guys are totally
really
sexually
incompatible. But there's also ways to go about having that conversation before actually getting married, where you can
but if you're
like,
both abstinent, you can't really know.
But you don't
What'd you
even
say?
really know what you like.
If you're both
in that
abstinent,
case,
you're not
right?
really having
You
a
don't even
conversation.
I mean,
know
look,
really what
I'm gonna be honest. Like in the stage of my life where I'm at, where I'm looking for a wife, like I can tell, speaking to a woman, having conversations with her, like there's an energy exchange.
You absolutely cannot tell if you're bisexual
don't
compatible
think so.
or not.
And also, how is
yes, I
she
can.
supposed
There's
to know?
there's
an energy exchange.
Okay, maybe if your
you can
standards for
tell.
good sex are really low.
Come on, no, you've never met a girl. Oh wait, hold on. Destiny.
Yes, it comes down to chemistry. Honestly, it comes down to chemistry. I've had girlfriends in the past where like I could tell based on the energy exchange that we were going to have a good sexual relationship, and I was 100% correct when it happened.
There are people that I've met that I've had
high.
like really like when we were hanging out like in public, really strong chemistry, and the sex was awful.
Horrible.
The
Why
worst
should-
I've ever had.
Why should sexual chemistry define the entire relationship?
I didn't say
It's
it
like-
should, but there
but
are
it's
things
a
that can
huge
be
part of the
there are things that can
relationship.
be like a necessary part, meaning it needs to be there, but it's not sufficient. It's not the whole relationship. So there are a lot of different things. So for instance, like good hygiene is not the only thing a relationship is about, but bad hygiene might be like an endpoint of a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I think you should wait, because then you get to appreciate the qualities in a person more.
No,
But it
I'm
might
not
be
saying you
really
can't
bad.
appreciate, but what I'm saying is that like there's some level of sexual experience that you can bring to the table in a relationship, and there's some level of like sexual enjoyment that you're not going to know about until you've already sealed the deal on getting married. That might be a deal breaker further on, like for the relationship.
But I agree with his point that he's saying like, come on, because you've like felt a girl like, dude, this girl and me, like we fucking want each other.
I've enough women at this point to know that I never, ever assume how good she's going to be in bed, because I've had my mind blown with how bad some people are and with how good some people
Fair
are.
play, but you have felt like that kind of sexual tension, like in a positive
Yeah, of
way
course, for
between
sure.
To do
you
with
and
what the
another
But I'm saying
woman.
that doesn't.
Sex
Sex
like
is
later on.
not to take away like the mystique of it, but like sex is a skill that you practice.
Yeah.
It's an attitude that you come in with it, and it's a deliberate improvement if you want to get better at it.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So just like having chemistry, I've had like hardcore chemistry with some people, and then I have some of the most awkward and they're trying to move while you're trying to fuck. Their mouth is toothy as fuck when they're giving head. They're like, there's all sorts of like weird shit happening. Just chemistry alone is not
Yeah,
going to
but
make
you
you
can
good at
communicate
sex.
about that in order to improve
Yeah,
it.
I
it's
think
not
some
like
people
fatalistic.
the point I'm trying to
Let's say,
defend.
what if you get with a girl and then you get married and then you find out afterwards she's like, I don't believe in oral sex.
You
Haram.
can have that
Based.
conversation with
Out
her
of there.
beforehand.
But
You
let's
could,
say
but
she's gonna say,
you
"I'm
could,
never
but you
doing it ever
wait, hold on,
again,"
wait.
you know?
You could, but you don't know if that's going to be the case because she might say like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like it'd be really fun," and then she tries it the first time your honeymoon night, and she's like, "Ooh, this isn't fun. I don't like this."
Yeah, I mean, I think
Now you're
with,
like,
I think with sufficient communication, you can overcome that hurdle. And to go back to what we were saying a second ago, look, I've slept with 7 women. Every single one, like I could feel the energy exchange, and I already had an idea of what it was going to be like to be with them. I was right with every single one of them.
Okay.
So like, I think if you look, the autistic people, like it's going to be a little bit more difficult because it's hard to like read the energy and stuff. But like, with that aside, you know, if you can read the person well, you do have.
I super disagree, but
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
also slept with more women than you have too.
Not,
so he
that's
probably
that's chill.
Oh, you had to bring that up. You had to
What's the
bring
body
that
count?
up.
Is that a
Oh,
you trying to own
My
me?
point is,
What's the body count?
Look at
Destiny?
your
What
set of
is the body
examples.
count? What's
Just
the
because of
Destiny
your
body
7
count?
What's the body
examples
count?
doesn't mean
500
that it
plus
has like
easily.
that.
Dude, that's gonna be like every single time you're gonna sleep.
Yeah, I
with
know,
someone,
and it's going to
right?
be
Yeah.
different for
But
other guys. They might not be
yeah,
able to
okay.
read
But I
the
think
women
it's-
that
it's
they're
Yeah,
a-
but I
talking
don't
to
think
as
you
a-
say that as a point. It's
Melina.
like every single time you sleep with someone that has to be like you just know unless you're autistic.
But
like,
I think there's like a general positive indicator of him being right. Like you can kind of meet
yeah,
someone.
but autistic people won't know. So
I
we
But
should
there's a
not
small,
talk about
it's a
autistic
small
I-
percentage of the population.
I agree
Well,
with
that's an
Destiny
interesting
saying.
question,
I agree with
actually.
Destiny saying
like
in the sense
autistic
like
people should like
you should
not
answer
marry
this question
after,
because you
know?
brought it up that
I-
Steven has more experience than he does. Who do you think would be better at sex right now, Steven or Chase?
I have no idea.
That's
definitely.
That's an interesting definitely.
You don't need-
you don't need-
the Giga Chad
Who
of
do
the
you think would
panel.
be better?
I don't think that it really has to do with
You
it.
don't
It's
need to
probably
answer
just more
that.
about like having the experience of like if you had chemistry with someone.
What?
If you had chemistry with someone in bed or versus like when you were before you slept with them, because it is the case. Like if you had a lot of experience and you know that the case could be that you have a lot of chemistry at work, but then in bed it's like super awful, right?
I think
Like,
also I will
if you
say
had
too.
more
The original-
experience,
I
you
just
I
know
will
wanna
more
say,
say
about-
hold on, but I will say too, that question is really revealing, okay? The 5 best sexual partners that I've had in my life were all the people that I were in the long-term relationships with. Some of the worst sexual experiences I've had in my life were people that I started off, right? My
Same.
first serious girlfriend in high school, when we started off, we were both virgins, okay? It was the most awkward, horrible shit. And by the end, even still, those rank as like some of my best sexual experiences. But it's because we got to know each other and because we managed to have sexual compatibility. We developed that through the relationship. Like on a one-night stand, like it's hard to know. Like one night stands aren't even that fun sexually, depending on what you're looking for.
Unless you're sexually
So-
starved.
What?
Unless you're like sexually starved and like one
Go
night
ahead,
I
Billy.
just-
Billy,
I
go
can
ahead,
agree
Billy.
that the longer you're with somebody, the better sex gets. So why is she not enough?
Why is she not enough? It's.
Why
I mean,
am I
like.
enough, Steve?